I took care of my paralyzed mother-in-law for 10 years. The moment she died, my husband immediately divorced me. He used our son to trick me into walking away with nothing, then turned around and proudly married his first love. When I went to confront them, my own son pushed me off a tall building, and I died a miserable death. It turned out that father and son had been plotting everything behind my back for a long time. When I opened my eyes again, I had gone back 10 years into the past. This time, I'll send their whole family to the crematorium. We should get a divorce. Ethan's cold voice in the middle of the night pulled my consciousness back. I couldn't believe it. I had actually been reborn. Ethan had just come home from work and suddenly brought up divorce. In my past life, I had cried and questioned him, asking what I had done wrong and why he wanted to leave me. I reminded him that our son would be a senior in high school next year. If we divorced now, what would happen to our son? But I didn't expect Ethan to be so determined. His mind was made up. Then, the very next day, he suddenly changed his tune and said he wanted to give up on the divorce for the sake of our child. I felt secretly relieved, thinking he had come to his senses just in time. I silently vowed to be more attentive and do everything I could to save our marriage. That afternoon, I got a call from Ethan telling me that my mother-in-law was sick. Living this life over again, I finally understood. Ethan had already been cheating on me. The reason he gave up on the divorce wasn't out of concern for our son. It was because he didn't want to lose me, the free live-in caregiver for his paralyzed mother. Without me, there would be no one to look after her. I looked up and met Ethan's gaze. I agree to the divorce, I said. He looked momentarily stunned, clearly not expecting me to agree so easily. Well, if you agree, that makes things easier, he said. You can have custody of our son, but I want you to leave with nothing. Ha, how convenient for him. Before I could say anything, our son, Ryan, suddenly burst through the door. I don't want to go with Mom. She's a control freak. I'd rather die than live with her. His eyes, full of hatred, were the same ones I had seen when he pushed me off the building in my past life. My body trembled involuntarily. Ever since Ryan started middle school, he had struggled academically and secretly started dating. To help him do better, I quit my high-paying job to tutor him full-time. In my previous life, under my careful guidance, Ryan was admitted to a top university and later landed a high-paying job at a major tech company, earning a six-figure salary. But he never appreciated any of it. He saw me as his enemy, blamed me for taking away his freedom and his right to love. After my mother-in-law died, he and Ethan teamed up to trick me into leaving the marriage with nothing. In front of me, he even called Ethan's first love Mom. All the sacrifices I made for him ended with him murdering me in cold blood. A son like that isn't worth keeping. As I watched Ryan storm out in anger, Ethan looked at me smugly. Shannon, you know Ryan always listens to me. If I talk to him, he'll definitely agree to go with you. I stared coldly at Ethan. I don't want custody. Ethan's expression changed. Shannon, what kind of nonsense is that? We're talking about Ryan's custody here. You know I'm busy with work. I don't have time to help him with school. Without help, his grades will plummet. So, he knew it was because of me that Ryan was doing well. I let out a cold laugh. He wants freedom, needs his dad? Fine. Let him have it. Am I wrong for giving him what he wants? I'll give you custody, he said, but you leave with nothing. Not happening. I looked at him with icy calm and returned the very words he once threw at me in our past life. In your eyes, is our son worth less than your precious money? Stop trying to drive a wedge between us. I know exactly what Ethan is thinking. He was so anxious he was practically stomping his feet. A moment later, he forced himself to calm down. Fine, I agree to your terms, but I want more than just custody. I want you to promise never to see our son again, so he won't be influenced by a cold-blooded mother like you. No one knew better than Ethan how much I had sacrificed for Ryan over the years. If I hadn't died once, there's no way I would have ever given up my child. Ethan knew that too. This was just another test to gauge my reaction. Too bad he miscalculated this time. All right, since we've come to an agreement, let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau right now and sign the papers, I said. When we arrived at the office, Ethan still had that smug, confident look in his eyes. Shannon, I'll give you one last chance, he began, but I cut him off before he could finish. Save it. The staff just started work. We should get the paperwork done quickly. Honestly, I was even more eager to get this over with than he was. I had been worried he might back out once news came of his mother's illness. Ethan let out a cold, mocking laugh. Still so stubborn. Shannon, that's something you'll never change. When we finally got our divorce certificate, Ethan remained full of confidence. Shannon, I know what you're thinking. There's a 30-day cooling-off period. You still have a chance to regret this, don't you? I let out a sarcastic laugh. Ethan, I think you're the one who'll regret it. His face darkened with fury. I'm in the prime of my career, about to be promoted to regional manager. My future is limitless. You, on the other hand, are an unemployed housewife who depends on me. Divorcing you feels like a celebration. I could throw a party for it. That comment almost made me want to applaud him. I took out my phone, opened the camera, and pointed it right at him. We agreed, I said. Whoever regrets this is a dog. Since you're so confident, want to record it? Ethan nodded, glaring at me through gritted teeth. Shannon, if you come crawling back in 30 days begging me not to divorce you, then you're worse than a dog. You're scum. I finished the recording and saved the video. If Ethan dared go back on his word, I'd take that clip straight to his company and play it on every screen, just to show everyone what kind of man he really was. As we stepped out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, Ethan's phone suddenly rang. What? What happened to Mom? He shouted. Realizing the bad omen had arrived, I quickly flagged down a taxi and left before his misfortune could rub off on me. Once I got home, afraid Ethan might come harass me, I turned off my phone and went straight to bed. I didn't know how long I'd slept before the front door was suddenly kicked open with a loud crash. Startled, I shot up from bed. Ryan stood at the doorway, glaring at me with fierce anger. Grandma's in the hospital, and you're still sleeping? What kind of daughter-in-law are you? I stared coldly at him. What does your grandma being in the hospital have to do with me? Didn't your dad tell you we're already divorced? Ryan shouted at me furiously. Go to the hospital and take care of Grandma right now. Or don't blame me for cutting you out of my life forever. I got out of bed, walked over to him, and slapped him hard across the face. He clutched his cheek and stared at me in disbelief. You hit me? Are you insane? Can't control me, so now you use violence to threaten me? I let out a cold, mocking laugh. So you are human? I thought you were just an animal. Before he could fire back, I cut him off. Even animals know to be grateful to their mothers. And you? You're a human who screams at the very woman who gave you life, who raised you. You throw words like psycho and get out at me. You're worse than an animal. Ryan's eyes turned red with rage. I hate you. I never want to see you again, he yelled before storming out the door in a fury. After Ryan left, I looked down at my stinging palm, overwhelmed with regret, not because I hit him, but because my poor hand was now dirty. I should have used the sole of my shoe on him instead. That night, Ethan came back. The moment he stepped through the door, he threw his coat down and glared at me, fuming. Shannon, you've really lost your mind. You ignored my calls and scared our son off. What the hell is wrong with you? I looked at him calmly. Mr. Carter, which law says I'm required to answer your calls? Don't forget, we're already divorced. As for Ryan, I gave birth to him. If he thinks it's wrong that I slapped him, he can go ahead and sue me. My careless attitude completely infuriated Ethan. He kicked over a chair and shouted, Aren't you afraid Ryan and I will completely cut you off? You're just a housewife, no job, no effort to look decent, letting yourself go. You've got broad shoulders, a thick waist, greasy skin, and you're as messy as a damn sow. Without me, who would want you? Without our son, who's going to take care of you when you're old? I grabbed the water pitcher next to me and dumped the entire thing over Ethan's head. I only wished I'd had time to boil it first. Before he could react, I yanked his collar and started pounding my fists into his temples. You bastard, I married you when I was 25. I managed the household, raised our child, saved money by cooking and cleaning every damn day. I haven't bought a new outfit in 3 years, and you have the audacity to call me a pig? You piece of garbage. You should be dead. Fueled by rage, I couldn't stop myself. Punch after punch landed on Ethan's head. He always believed I'd never leave him because he knew I had devoted myself completely to our home, made it the center of my life, even more important than myself. But what he didn't know was that I had already died once. To me, he was no longer someone I loved, only someone I hated. The noise was so loud that neighbors started banging on the walls. That finally snapped me out of it. A lifetime spent on a man like this wasn't just unworthy, it was pathetic. I let go of Ethan, who stared at me in complete shock. He had never seen me like this. His eyes filled with fear. "Shannon, you've really gone crazy. You're abusing me in our own home." I gave him a cold, hard look. "You keep pushing me, and I will kill you." "You believe me?" He instinctively shrank back, and I snapped at him. "What the hell do you want? If you've got nothing better to do, get the hell out." He hesitated, like he was struggling to make a difficult decision. Then he said, "Shannon, for Ryan's sake, I've decided to give you one more chance. Let's not get divorced." "What? What did you just say?" I screamed, staring at him wide-eyed. A smug smile crept across Ethan's face. "I'm only doing this for Ryan. But if you keep acting up, don't blame me if..." Before he could finish, I had already opened the recording on my phone and played the video. "Whoever regrets it is a dog." I frowned at him. "Wow, I didn't expect you to be so eager to be a dog." Ethan exploded with rage. "Shannon, you've got some nerve." In the end, he stormed out, furious. As he left, I made sure to remind him, "Don't forget, our divorce agreement says you have to move out within a week. Don't make me repeat myself." Bam! He slammed the door shut in response. The next morning, Ryan, who had been gone all day, suddenly showed up. The same son who always looked at me with disdain now had a completely different attitude. He walked up to me and apologized. "Mom, I was wrong. You've worked so hard to take care of me all these years, I shouldn't have said those things." Something that strange can't be trusted. When a backstabbing son turns around, there's always a knife behind his back. I decided to play along for now, just to figure out what his real motive was. "I've received your apology," I said. Immediately, Ryan broke into a bright smile and ran toward me, arms wide. "Aren't you always telling me to respect my elders?" Ryan said. "Grandma's sick now. Come with me to visit her." I refused right away. "I don't have time." Without another word, I grabbed my things and got ready to head out. "Mom, where are you going? You haven't made me breakfast yet." I didn't even look back. "Your dad's not dead. Ask him." I knew Ethan wouldn't give in so easily, but I didn't expect him to go this far. When I got home that afternoon, the first thing I saw was his mother lying in the middle of the living room. She'd had a stroke. Ethan had purposely placed her in the center of the room, like a display. At the same time, I received a message from him. "I'm on a business trip for a week. Take good care of Mom. Don't let me down." As soon as she saw me walk in, she looked up anxiously. "Shannon, my good daughter-in-law, you're finally back. I'm so sorry. I've been such a burden to you two." Tears streamed down her face as she cried and spoke, expecting me to melt. But she had no idea how well I truly knew her filth. In my previous life, she was afraid I'd stop taking care of her, so she promised to transfer the house back in her hometown to me. To make it seem real, she even had Ethan show me a property deed. But after Ethan divorced me, I found out she'd already transferred that house to her daughter years ago. The deed I saw was fake. Every time Ethan snuck off to see his first love, it was this old woman who covered for him. I took care of her with everything I had, kept her living in dignity for 10 years. And what did she do? She repaid me with betrayal and lies, mocking me behind my back. A woman like her deserves to rot in a hospital bed. "Auntie," I said flatly, "Ethan and I are divorced. I'm no longer your daughter-in-law, so don't call me that." She froze for a second, then looked at me with blame in her eyes. "Shannon, don't say such hurtful things. I know you love Ethan. Now that I'm here, I'll speak up for you. I promise, Ethan won't dare bring up divorce again." This old woman couldn't understand plain English. I wasn't going to waste my breath arguing. I turned around and packed up a suitcase. Ever since getting married, I'd never once traveled. I figured this was the perfect opportunity to finally take a trip. When she saw me dragging my suitcase out of the room, she panicked. "Shannon, where are you going?" I ignored her completely. She's not my mother. I don't owe her anything. Just as I arrived at the airport, my phone rang. It was Ryan, crying hysterically on the other end. "Mom, something terrible happened at home. You need to come back right now." I raised an eyebrow. "What happened?" He sobbed louder. Grandma, there was a pause in my voice. She's dead? As much as I disliked her, if a senior died at home, it could seriously lower the property value. There was a clear break in his crying before he responded. No, she's not dead, but there's no one to take care of her. She's really pitiful. Dad's working overtime and hasn't come home. Grandma hasn't eaten. I haven't eaten dinner either. I laughed out loud in disbelief. Ryan Carter, you're a junior in high school. You don't know how to cook your own food? If it's that bad, order delivery. Are your limbs broken? Are you completely useless? If that's all, I continued, I'm hanging up. I've got a plane to catch. I ended the call without giving him a chance to say another word. Ethan did say one thing that was absolutely right. I'd lived for this family for far too long. I'd completely forgotten that I used to be an independent, strong woman. I turned off my phone, boarded the plane, and began a brand new journey. By the time I landed, it was already early morning in Southport. As soon as I turned my phone back on, message after message came flooding in. Almost all of them were from Ethan. Before I could even finish reading them all, Ethan's calls started coming in again. Shannon, are you brain dead? Can't you understand plain English? I told you I'm away on a business trip and you go off on a vacation? He shouted. I was speechless. I'm a human being. I only understand human language. I can't make sense of the garbage animals spew, I said flatly. Through the phone, I could hear Ethan's furious roars echoing in the background. You left. What's my mom supposed to do now? Shannon, how can you be so selfish? It's embarrassing for Ryan to have a mother like you. I realized Ethan genuinely didn't understand human speech anymore, so I hung up and immediately blocked his number. By the time I opened my eyes again, it was already noon the next day. In the past, I had to wake up at 6 a.m. every day to cook breakfast for the family. Even though I was a full-time housewife, I never had a single moment to rest. But now, living alone, even if I slept until nightfall, who cared? Southport was a small town in the southern region. It didn't have the glitz and glamour of the big cities, but it carried a sense of quiet, serenity, and charm. In my free time, I strolled around the streets. These past 3 or 4 days had been the most peaceful and comfortable I'd experienced in my entire 18 years of marriage. Just as I was getting out of bed, I received a call from Ryan's homeroom teacher. Hello, are you Ryan's mother? Ryan hasn't been to school in 2 days. With senior year approaching, the curriculum is very intense right now. All the other students are scared to miss even a single class, but Ryan has been skipping. This could seriously impact his future. In my previous life, if I had received a call like this, even if I'd been lying in an emergency room, I would have dragged myself out of bed and rushed to get Ryan back into class. Sorry, miss, I replied calmly. Ryan's father and I are divorced. He has full custody now. Please contact him. I didn't care whether this was one of Ethan's schemes or something Ryan came up with on his own. Either way, I wasn't going to sacrifice myself for anyone anymore. Ryan didn't even like school. He thought I forced him into it. Thought I'd ruined his life by making him study. So this time around, I'd let him have exactly what he wanted. If I hadn't willingly played the free nanny and unpaid caregiver in my last life, Ethan wouldn't have lived so carefree. I knew he wouldn't let me off the hook easily, but I didn't expect him to stoop this low. Not only did I block Ethan, I also cut off all contact with Ryan. It wasn't until I got a call from an old friend, Lily, that I found out something had happened. Shannon, what's going on with you and Ryan? Why is this blowing up all over the internet? I was completely confused. What do you mean? What did Ryan do? She told me she knew I was traveling and not at home, and told me to open a short video app and check the latest video Ryan had uploaded. The moment I saw his face on the thumbnail, a sense of dread crept up in my chest. When I tapped into the video, there he was, crying in front of the camera, pouring his heart out. Mom, please come back. I really want to go back to school. Please help me. I'm begging you. He went on to say that he had always been an outstanding student, but now, because his mother refused to care for his sick grandma and ran off to enjoy herself, he was forced to drop out and take care of the woman he loved, like a second mother. I checked his profile and found another video. This time, it was an audio recording of our phone conversation, selectively edited. It only kept 2 lines from me. Are your limbs broken? Are you completely useless? I'm hanging up now. I've got a plane to catch. Both videos were racking up attention fast, with thousands of comments. I couldn't believe it. My ungrateful little snake of a son had some real acting talent. I clenched my phone and opened the comment section, expecting to be torn to shreds. I braced myself for a flood of venom. But to my surprise, the comments weren't as vicious as I'd expected. Yes, plenty of people were bashing me, calling me selfish, heartless, saying I'd abandoned my child for the sake of pleasure. Some accused me of forcing a teenager to give up school just to care for a sick old woman. But there were others who were more cautious, saying it wasn't right to judge based on one side of the story. With so many lies and twists on the internet, people were starting to be more careful. They didn't want to be manipulated. One particular comment caught my eye and made me laugh out loud. "Where's your dad? Is he dead?" I silently gave that commenter a like. Watching the view count climb higher and higher, I couldn't help but feel a strange surge of excitement building inside me. What a helpful little brat. He actually did me a huge favor. After watching the videos, I called Ethan, my voice barely hiding how thrilled I was. "Ethan, what's going on with Ryan? Why did he post those videos?" Ethan tried to sound composed. "What do you think? It's because of you. If you hadn't been so selfish, Ryan wouldn't have acted out like this." I could tell he was trying hard to sound serious, but I had no doubt he was secretly laughing on the inside. I shouted, "Tell Ryan to delete the videos and go back to school. Right now. Did you hear me?" Ethan replied slowly, "If Ryan goes back to school, then what about my mom? Besides, he's not a little kid anymore. He doesn't always listen to what I say. Shannon, you really shouldn't be so selfish." I almost laughed out loud. "Fine, Ethan. If you won't take the videos down, don't come crying to me later." So the old jerk wanted to play games? He had no idea who he was dealing with. After hanging up, I went straight to the comment section on Ryan's video and posted a detailed reply, laying out the entire situation. I revealed that Ethan and I were already divorced and even uploaded the official divorce certificate from the Civil Affairs Bureau. An hour later, I checked the comments again. My comment had shot to the top, and below it were hundreds of replies from other users. I thought his dad died or something. Turns out the old man's alive and well. Ungrateful brat ruins his mom's life for over a decade and still expects her to be his free nanny? Disgusting. He has the nerve to cry? Pathetic. Looks like the evil mother-in-law finally got her karma. That whole family's a pack of ungrateful wolves. Scary. The screen was flooded with angry comments directed at Ryan. But I wasn't in a hurry. This was just the beginning. I had originally worried Ethan would use the 30-day divorce cooling-off period to stall and avoid finalizing things. But now that Ryan had posted those 2 videos, I had all the ammunition I needed. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I put it on speaker and tossed it aside. Ryan's voice came through, screaming hysterically, "Shannon, you psycho. Are you only going to be satisfied when I'm dead? Fine, you won't say anything? Then watch. I'll kill myself. Hope you won't regret it when you have to collect my body." I jumped in. "Wait," Ryan, just about to hang up, paused. "You're not going to stop me," he said, "unless you post a public apology online. Come back home, kneel down and beg Dad for forgiveness, and promise to take care of Grandma. Otherwise, forget it." My precious little manipulator really thought he could run the show. Too bad I wasn't calling to talk him down. A white-eyed wolf like him. Nothing but the rotten genes of the Carter family running through his veins. Even if he died, I wouldn't shed a tear. "You've got it wrong," I said calmly. "I just wanted to ask, when you live stream your suicide, will you let me know the time? I'd like to tune in and maybe send you a donation. Might as well ride the trending wave, right?" There was a long pause on the other end. Then Ryan exploded. "Shannon, you're insane. Even a tiger doesn't eat its own cubs, and you want to use your son's death for clout?" I sneered. "Aren't you the one threatening to die? If you want to die that badly, isn't it a mother's duty to support her son's last wish?" Ryan's voice cracked, full of resentment. "You're not worthy of being a mom." "I agree," I said coldly. "I'm not worthy of being a mom to a backstabbing brat like you. Your dad loves you so much. Go cry to him." Maybe he couldn't stand how indifferent I was because the call was suddenly cut off. The next morning, I was still half asleep when my phone rang again. It was my mother. "Shannon, you have to come home right now. Your dad's in the hospital." The fog in my mind cleared instantly. I bought the next available ticket and rushed back to my hometown. But the moment I stepped through the door, I froze. Ryan was sprawled on the living room couch, casually playing games on his phone. "What are you doing here?" I asked, stunned. He looked up and rolled his eyes at me. "What, you think I'd be here if Grandma hadn't begged me?" "Oh, please, you think I wanted to come?" Ryan muttered before I could say anything back. Before I could even react, an old, sharp voice called out from inside the house. "Ryan, Grandma's hungry. Tell your grandma to get in the kitchen and cook something." My eyes widened in disbelief. I rushed straight toward my bedroom, and the moment I flung open the door, my brain nearly exploded. That wicked old woman was lying comfortably on my bed, staring at me with smug satisfaction. Well, you actually came back. I thought the Shen family's ancestral grave must have popped out a miracle, gave birth to a daughter who doesn't even acknowledge her own kin." I clenched my jaw, glaring at her. "Who told you to come here? Was it Ethan?" I already knew Ethan was a piece of garbage, but I didn't expect him to stoop this low. Behind me, I heard footsteps. I turned to see Ryan standing there, glaring at me with disapproval. "Don't keep blaming Dad for everything. Grandma wanted to see me, so she begged me to stay. I brought Grandma along. What's the problem with that?" The old woman chimed in arrogantly. "Exactly. Stop blaming my son. It was your family who begged us to come. Don't twist things." I stared Ryan down, eyes burning. "Did my dad end up in the hospital because of you two?" Ryan instinctively looked away, avoiding my gaze. The old woman snapped. "Your dad's in the hospital because of his health. High blood pressure. Don't start throwing accusations around and blaming my precious grandson. If you push me too far, I'll make sure you pay for it." Rage boiled up inside me. I raised my hand and slapped Ryan hard across the face. He held his cheek, stunned. "You hit me again?" I rolled up my sleeves. "That slap was me going easy on you. Today, I'm gonna beat the ungrateful, disrespectful brat out of you." Just as I was about to go after him again, a furious voice rang out from the doorway. "Shannon, what the hell are you doing?" I looked up. "Mom, you're back? What about Dad? How is he?" At the hospital, I saw my father lying weakly in his bed. He had just regained consciousness. When he saw me, his emotions surged. "Dad," I said, "please don't get worked up. Let me explain everything, okay?" My mom stepped in, trying to calm things down. "Yes, listen to what our daughter has to say. Don't jump to conclusions." Dad had always listened to Mom more than anyone, and thanks to her calming presence, his emotions settled down a bit. He looked at me seriously. "Tell me, why'd you get divorced? Why did you leave your kid behind? What are you really trying to do? Is it true what Ryan said? Have you really lost your mind?" I sighed deeply. Ethan was the one who filed for divorce. He's seeing someone else and wanted me to walk away with nothing. But when his mom suddenly got sick, he changed his mind. He wanted me to stay and keep playing the role of free housekeeper for his family. Having lived 2 lifetimes, I knew better than anyone the misery that comes from staying silent. As much as I cared about my parents' feelings, I knew it was better to be honest than let them be manipulated. "What?" my mom gasped. "That Ethan always looked so decent. I can't believe he'd do something so vile." My dad furrowed his brow, fixing his eyes on me. "Then why would Ryan say what he said? Why would he lie about you?" I gave a bitter smile. "Ryan is exactly what people call a white-eyed wolf. He even helped Ethan cover for his dates with that other woman. I couldn't explain everything from my past life. There's no way they'd believe something that surreal." But I had saved the videos Ryan had posted earlier. I pulled out my phone and handed it to my parents. After they finished watching, both of them looked completely stunned. Dad's face was filled with pain. How did Ryan become like this? He had always adored him. I could understand how my dad felt, but compared to him, my mom always saw people for who they really were. "Even animals are more decent than a kid who slanders his own mother in public," she snapped. "I shouldn't have stopped you from hitting him earlier, Shannon." Seeing her face flushed with anger, I quickly stepped in to calm her down. "Mom, Dad, can you tell me exactly what happened at home?" From what my mom told me, Ryan had called my dad the night before, crying and saying I had divorced Ethan, abandoned him, and gone off traveling while he was left alone at home with nothing to eat. My parents were so worried, they wanted to rush to my place immediately to take care of their grandson. But Ryan insisted on coming to their home instead. Naturally, they didn't refuse. Early the next morning, Ethan personally drove his mother and Ryan to my parents' place. I live in the capital, while my parents' home is in a remote little town, hundreds of kilometers apart. I had planned to wait until I got the official divorce papers before going home to explain everything properly. But I clearly underestimated Ethan's shamelessness. When my parents saw Ethan's paralyzed mother laid out in the living room, they were stunned. They asked Ryan what was going on, and he immediately burst into tears, blaming me for everything. That, along with the old witch's bitter sarcasm and toxic words, drove my dad's blood pressure through the roof and sent him straight to the hospital. Just thinking about those two disgusting men makes my blood boil. This time, I won't let them get away with it. I went quiet for a moment and my dad let out a sigh. Even if what Ethan did was wrong, we won't stop you from getting divorced, but Ryan's still your child. Don't you care? Before I could answer, my mom cut in furiously. That ungrateful little wolf? Let him go. Better to raise a beggar's daughter than a corrupt official's son. Has he never heard that saying? Does he think his father's some great man? He'll suffer sooner or later. Just wait for karma. Thanks to my mom's firm stance, my dad finally changed his tune and the tension in my chest eased a little. Mom, stay at the hospital with Dad for now, I said gently. She looked at me with concern. Your dad has me. Don't worry about him. You just fund your own life. But please don't act recklessly. I smiled. Mom, what are you thinking? I wouldn't waste my youth on trash like them. That would be a terrible investment. Taking out the trash felt amazing. After leaving the hospital, I didn't go home. I went straight to Ethan's company. He was the root of all this. No way was I letting him sit comfortably in the background while chaos unfolded. When I walked into Ethan's office, he looked like he'd seen a ghost. What are you doing here? He stammered, standing up, panic flashing in his eyes. You dumped your paralyzed mother at your ex-wife's house and forced her elderly in-laws to take care of her. You drove my dad into the hospital. And you've been hiding behind it all like a coward. Shut up, Shannon. Shut your mouth, he barked, clearly panicking. I smirked coldly. Didn't you say you liked broadcasting things? Great, I'll live stream this too. Let's show the world what a disgusting man hides under that crisp suit and polished title. Ethan lunged forward, trying to cover my mouth. I pulled a stack of printed flyers out of my bag. Don't believe me? I'll go toss these in front of your building right now. Now he was really scared. His career was just beginning to take off. If his enemies got wind of this, his upward climb would be over. Shannon, let's talk this through. I'll agree to whatever you want, okay? He pleaded. I stared him down. Go pick up your useless mother right now. If you waste even one more minute, I'll destroy your reputation. He still tried to make excuses. It wasn't me. It was Ryan. He said he felt bad seeing me work so hard while taking care of Mom, so he came up with this plan. The level of shamelessness really was astonishing. I don't have the patience for this, I said coldly. Get out of my sight, scum. I'm not joking. Ethan finally got the message. He grabbed his car keys and ran out of the office. By the time I returned from picking my dad up at the hospital, the house was finally peaceful again. My mom was sitting on the living room couch, fuming quietly. They pushed your dad to the point of hospitalization, and we haven't even settled the score with them yet. They're lucky. I gently comforted her. Don't worry. As soon as I get that divorce certificate, they'll get what's coming to them. Even so, my mom still tried to caution me. Just don't do anything reckless. Okay? How could I possibly be reckless over people like them? A few days later, the cooling-off period ended. I immediately scheduled an appointment with Ethan to finalize the divorce at the Civil Affairs Bureau. But by 10 a.m., he still hadn't shown up. He wasn't answering calls either. I knew right away the jerk was trying to ghost me. So I called one of his coworkers at the office. Just a minute after I hung up, Ethan called me back. His voice was full of rage. Shannon, what the hell do you want? I laughed coldly. You stand me up and you're asking what I want. Are you coming or not to get the divorce papers? Ethan snapped. I'm not doing it. I changed my mind. I don't agree to the terms in that previous agreement. Unless you give me all the property, you're not walking away clean. No way. I chuckled. Fine. Then let's take it to court. You cheated during the marriage, so the judge will rule in my favor anyway. You'll lose everything, including your reputation. Lies, Ethan shouted, completely losing it. I didn't bother arguing. I simply sent him the pictures of him kissing his coworker. I had known from the beginning that once I left for vacation, he'd get even bolder with his affair. That's why I'd hired someone to watch him before I even boarded the plane. Now I had plenty of evidence in hand. Less than 30 minutes later, Ethan stormed into the Civil Affairs Bureau, his eyes practically burning holes through me. Shannon, what good does it do you to ruin me? Don't you care if Ryan cuts you off forever? Even now, he still thought I cared about that ungrateful son of his. I kicked him hard. Cut the crap. Come get this divorce certificate with me. Without waiting for a reply, I turned to get a number from the front desk. I didn't believe for a second he'd dare walk away now. Ethan had spent 10 years clawing his way to his current position. He valued it too much. And the more he cared, the harder he'd fight to hold on to it. My determination was written all over my face, and the staff at the certificate window stopped trying to mediate. Not long after, the divorce certificate was finally in my hands. As I was leaving, Ethan still had the nerve to threaten me. You'll regret this. Just wait. A few days later, I returned home with a team of men, and just as I expected, Ethan hadn't followed through with his end of the agreement. His whole family was still squatting in my house. As soon as they saw me, Ethan's face darkened. He hadn't even spoken before that old hag in the bed started yelling. If you want us out, you'll have to step over my dead body. Ryan glared at me too. My dad already divorced you, Shannon. What more do you want? I motioned to the 3 large men behind me. Get to work. The man in front grabbed Ethan by the shoulder and yanked him toward the door. What are you doing? Ethan screamed. This is my house. I swear I'll call the cops. The man pulled a deed out of his bag and waved it in Ethan's face. This house belongs to me now. You're the one squatting here. Go ahead, call the cops. You think they'll side with you? Ethan was stunned. He looked at me, wide-eyed. What the hell is going on? After the house was transferred into my name, I went to a local asset company and explained my situation. I gave them a rock-bottom price on the house. The owner was quick to agree. As long as everything was legal, they didn't fear squatters. After all, people who play dirty are terrified of those who have nothing left to lose. And these guys? They were the kind who'd risk everything for money. As long as that house was still in my name, Ethan would never stop bothering me. This was the fastest and most efficient way to wash my hands of it. The lead man turned to me. Ma'am, we've got this handled. You're free to go. I smiled, pulled out a red envelope, and handed it to him. Thanks, brother. Enjoy your new home. I had just gotten into the car when the lead guy sent me a video. In it, the once arrogant Ethan was now a complete mess, on his knees, pleading, Bro, I was wrong, okay? I'll move out right now, please. That wicked old woman was crying too, propping herself up and sobbing, Don't hurt my son. We'll leave, please. I'm begging you. These guys really got a deal. A couple $100 in red envelopes, and they were rewarded with front row seats to a priceless drama. Worth every penny. I tucked my phone away and rushed back to my hometown. Once there, I took my parents to the station to meet up with the tour group I'd booked for them. My dad had fully recovered by then. I'd arranged a 1-month, all-expenses-paid, sightseeing-only trip for them, just to help them unwind and to give me some peace of mind. As soon as their bus pulled away, I hit send on an email I had already drafted days ago. It was time to settle some old scores from my previous life. The email contained evidence of Ethan's affair with his female coworker, Zoe Chin. The two had reconnected at a class reunion 3 years ago. Zoe had dumped Ethan back in college, shortly after graduation, because he was broke. Now that Ethan had gained a bit of success and Zoe was freshly divorced, she shamelessly latched onto him again. Ethan had used his position at work to get Zoe hired at his company. Pretending it was all business, they were actually sneaking around and hooking up right in the office. The best part? I sent that email through Ethan's own DingTalk account, which meant it went directly to every single employee in the company. The contents of that email were enough to ruin them both. No chance of ever standing tall at that company again. And to top it off, I copied the email to Zoe's ex-husband. According to mutual friends, the guy was notoriously jealous. He used to lose it if Zoe even chatted too long with another man. He was the reason Zoe filed for divorce in the first place. She was terrified of him. What would he do if he found out Zoe had hooked up with Ethan during their divorce negotiations? A few days later, one of my close friends updated me. Ethan and Zoe had been fired. The ex-husband had stormed into their office the day he got the email and beat the crap out of Zoe. Ethan tried to sneak away while she was being dragged, but she caught him in the act and screamed for help. That just made her ex snap even harder. He lunged at Ethan and started pummeling him like a madman. One of Ethan's longtime office rivals secretly recorded the whole thing and posted it online. In the video, the ex-husband was shouting the nastiest curses imaginable, while Ethan got pinned down and beaten like a dog. If the company hadn't called the police, who knows how bad it would have gotten. The company later issued a formal statement. Ethan and Zoe were being terminated for severely damaging the company's image and causing substantial harm. No severance, no negotiation. The fact that they weren't being sued was already a mercy. Ethan knew he was in the wrong and didn't dare fight back. He just swallowed it. Not long after, a neighbor from my old place sent me a message. Ethan had shown up at the house with Ryan, trying to find me. I pulled up the security cam footage at the front door and saw Ethan asking the neighbors about me. They told him I hadn't returned and that my parents had gone on a trip. There was no one home, and we wouldn't be back anytime soon. Ethan was furious, stomping his feet in rage. "Damn it, Shannon, you really cut us off." Ryan, annoyed, said, "Forget it, Dad. If she doesn't want to see us, why should we bother with her? I'm hungry. Can we go get some KFC already?" Ethan, already fuming, lost it. He kicked Ryan. "All you ever care about is food, you useless brat. Is that all you know? Eat, eat, eat." Ryan's eyes welled up in shock. You hit me, Dad?" Ethan snarled. "If I didn't have to keep you around, do you think I'd be the one walking away from the marriage with nothing? I'm telling you now, if I can't get that house money back from Shannon, you'll be the first one I deal with." Then he kicked Ryan again. Ryan, seething, turned and ran off. Watching him storm away through the security footage, I let out a cold, quiet laugh. "You little traitor. Your real punishment hasn't even begun." Ethan and I had been married for over a decade. His best friend's wife had also been a close friend of mine. When she found out about everything Ethan had done, my friends were furious on my behalf. They secretly kept me updated on Ethan's miserable downfall. After getting fired, he went on 4 or 5 interviews in a row and still couldn't land a job. Even after slashing his expected salary in half, no company in the industry would touch him. Ethan, always proud and arrogant, gave up completely and stopped looking. He just laid around at home. Once Zoe saw that he had no job and could barely get by renting a place, she dumped him immediately. That sent Ethan spiraling. He started drinking every day. When he got drunk, he'd take it all out on Ryan, blaming him for being useless and driving me away. Not only was Ryan getting hit, he also had to take care of Ethan's paralyzed mother. The life of suffering he used to dread had finally landed right on top of him. Some of my friends felt sorry for Ryan, but I knew better. That ungrateful brat was just reaping what he sowed. My friends thought Ethan had already suffered enough and urged me to let it go, to start fresh. But as far as I was concerned, this wasn't even close to over. A few days later, I met with Mr. Chen, the owner of the loan company that had helped me sell the house. After I completed the house sale, I'd referred several new loan clients to him. Over time, we became friends. When I told him what I had in mind, he patted his chest and said, "Don't worry, leave it to me." 3 months later, I caught Ethan crouched outside my apartment building. The moment he saw me, he rushed up with a bouquet of flowers. "Shannon, finally, I've been waiting for you." I took 3 steps back immediately. "What, did you fall into a septic tank? Your mouth smells disgusting. Get lost." Ethan looked momentarily embarrassed, but then quickly switched back to his fake warmth. "Shannon, don't be like that. I actually came today with good news." I narrowed my eyes, suspicious. He couldn't wait to blurt it out. "Shannon, my mom died. You can come back now. Ryan misses you." Let's be a family again, just like before. I couldn't help but laugh. This man was unbelievable. His mother had died, and instead of mourning, he was proud, practically celebrating. Last time, that wretched woman had clung to life for 10 more years under my care. Now, she died this fast? Must have been from the stress of dealing with him. Poetic justice. That was the ending she deserved. Ethan saw me go silent and leaned in. Shannon, we. Before he could finish, I raised my leg and kicked him square in the crotch. Didn't I tell you to stay away from me? Didn't you understand plain English? I was beyond disgusted. Ethan's face darkened with rage. Shannon, I've been more than polite to you. You better not push it, I sneered. Or what? You'll hit me? Please, what do I have to fear from a broke gambling addict drowning in debt? His eyes turned venomous. You don't think I'll drag you down with me? You really think I have nothing left to lose? I looked right past him and smiled. Hey Blade, this guy just threatened to drag me down with him. Ethan instantly turned pale. Pure fear filled his eyes. I kept my gaze locked on Ethan. Not gonna turn around and say hi? Before Ethan could move, Blade and 2 of his guys walked up right behind him. Ethan dropped to his knees in a panic. Blade, what are you doing here? Blade let out a cold laugh. You think you can owe me money and disappear? I'm gonna make sure you remember today. Ethan started begging immediately, but Blade wasn't buying it. His men dragged Ethan off to the side and beat him senseless. Watching Ethan getting pummeled and hearing his screams brought me an almost indescribable satisfaction. Blade worked under Mr. Chen, and his specialty was collecting debts. Turns out, Ethan had gotten hooked on drugs and had blown through his savings. Ethan had borrowed a huge sum of money from Mr. Chen as well. Now he was being hounded day and night by debt collectors, screaming at him to pay up. His situation was worse than a rat on the street. Despised by all with nowhere to run, Blade's men dragged Ethan into the back of a van. Only after they drove off did I approach Blade. Thank you, I said sincerely. And please thank Mr. Chen for me too. Blade gave me a faint smile. No need to thank us. All we did was ask if he gambled. The moment he heard the word, he came crawling to us like a dog. We didn't even have to use any real pressure. As I watched the van disappear down the road, the weight that had been sitting on my chest finally lifted, at least halfway. That scumbag finally got what he deserved. A few days later, I got word that Ethan was dead. Turns out, after blowing the last bit of borrowed money on gambling, he set his sights on Ryan. He tried to convince Ryan to climb over the balcony and steal money from a neighbor's home to help pay off his debts. Ryan refused. The 2 got into a heated argument. And in the struggle, Ryan pushed Ethan off the balcony. From more than 10 stories up, Ethan died instantly. I had originally planned to let Ethan torture Ryan for a while longer before I made my move. But I never expected Ryan would end things himself by pushing Ethan off a building. Karma always comes back around. Now Ryan was locked up in a detention center. The police said he was in terrible shape, refusing food and water, demanding to see me. Eventually, I agreed to their request and went to visit him. I hadn't seen him in over half a year, and I barely recognized him. He was filthy, frail, and hunched over like some sewer rat lurking in the shadows. When he saw me, his expression lit up with desperation. Mom, you're finally here. I know I messed up. Please, please save me. I'm your son. You can't just let me die in here. I looked at him calmly, without a trace of emotion. Ryan, isn't this the freedom you begged for? What, you don't like it anymore? He froze, then his eyes turned vicious. Shannon, you heartless witch. Why did you divorce Dad? You should have been the one to die, not him. I was a top graduate from a prestigious university. I had a 6-figure salary. I was supposed to have a perfect life. I blinked in surprise. I hadn't expected this, but it was clear now. Ryan had been reborn too. Unfortunately for him, his timing couldn't have been worse. I smiled and stood up. So what? In this life, you'll rot in prison forever. Enjoy your sentence, you ungrateful son of a bitch.